In this episode, we're going to talk about the tools I use to keep my head above the water. So when running StudyFast, there's always something to do. And anyone who's either trying to start a business or has a business will know there's always something you can do. You don't work a 9 to 5, you work a 9 to when it's done. It's a phrase I kind of coined, so I'd like to take all the credit for that. Now, one way that we, or at least I and my team now, manage our time is we use a tool called Trello. And if you don't know about Trello, click up there. Because I made a tutorial about how to use Trello and how to use Stephen Covey's time matrix. Now, I won't go into too much detail now because it's easier when you can see it in front of you. But for now, what I use Trello for, it's a virtual to-do list. And we break it down into urgent and important, urgent and not important, not urgent and important, and of course, finally, not urgent and not important. And the way then I run my days is urgent and important are the things, if I don't get anything done today, these 1 or 2 things need to get done. And this ties into Pareto's law, the 80-20 principle. Now for the economists listening, they'll probably be familiar with this. The idea that 80% of the world's wealth is owned by 20% of the general population. So it's the same with managing your life. 80% of your results can be derived from 20% of your actions. So the first tool that we use is Trello, and that keeps us productive. Oh, do you have any questions?
What's your favourite function on Trello?
Oh, favourite function. It's the team collaboration. What's great, because of course I have other team members, is I can see what O's doing or what he hasn't done. O can leave comments on my board. So it's really good for team collaboration because it's so accessible on all your devices. You know, for example, when O was asking me questions in a previous video, he just had to jump onto his phone and go onto my board. So what I love about Trello is you can access it anywhere in the world. So we'll now move on to the second tool, which is a tool called Strict Workflow. Completely free app, and so is Trello, no affiliation, but we'll leave in the description just the general links for you to sign up. Strict Workflow follows the same principles as the Pomodoro technique. If you're not familiar with Pomodoro, it's Italian for red tomato. It means nothing, so forget that. What's important is the principle behind the Pomodoro technique. It's a red tomato timer that you know many old traditional Italian mums used to have in their kitchens. The idea is you set it for 25 minutes and you work on one activity, undistracted, undeterred, for 25 minutes. So the idea is you're now working with time as opposed to against it. Many people sit at their desk and are like, okay, I've got to get through my emails. That's a massive task for some people. Instead, if you say I'm going to spend 25 minutes, I'm going to get as much done as I can, the task doesn't seem as big. And what's nice is after those 25 minutes, you won't feel like you need a break, and that's really key. It's key that at the 25-minute point that you still feel fresh, because by the time you are worn out and you want to take a break, you're already burned out. You can't bring yourself back out of that. So you need to be taking a break when you don't need it, so that you feel fresh. You walk away for 5 minutes, make yourself a cup of tea, check your Facebook messages. It's that little reward that your brain needs for doing a task. And you get back to 25 minutes of hard work. Now I hear you all ask, what if, Jordan, I'm locked in and I want to keep going? This is true because it might be time sensitive. Well, studies have shown that instead you can do a longer Pomodoro. So you can do 15 minutes of focused work and take 10 minutes break and then repeat the cycle. So it's a very simple principle, 25 minutes of focused work on one activity, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break. That way you'll be able to distribute your efforts throughout the day, feel a lot more productive. Oh, any questions on Strict Workflow? Oh, and as a plugin, it's a simple extension on your Google. You click it, it starts the timer. That's how it works logistically. But any questions though?
I would say, okay, so how effective has it been for you?
Oh, how effective?
And in what situation has it been the most effective?
I think personal and professional. So of course I use it professionally, but also personally, you know, if I want to watch something on Netflix, you know, and I want to take a break and make sure that I don't binge watch too many episodes, I can just click the 25-minute timer and get going. Or if I want to spend 25 minutes tidying my room up, which my mum loves, I will set the 25-minute timer and it will make sure that my work is higher again. It's an 80-20 principle. You know, I've got 25 minutes to get the most amount of work done. So that's how it's worked well in my life, and it's so easy from day to day.
Got another question.
Yes,
So
that's why.
how, of course, you work for yourself.
Yeah.
You're self-employed. But how would you use that in a business setting where you may not be able to actually take 25 minutes off?
Okay. So this is a really good point. So it's about personal time management, ultimately. It's a time management tool. So if you work for someone, it still works effectively. You will be given your task and you just work for 25 minutes. The 5-minute break doesn't mean necessarily you have to get up from your desk. You can still sit there and you can go on your phone for 5 minutes and get back to it. The key thing though is switching off. So I hope that answers your question on how you can use it in a real world situation. And the final one, not really a tool, but it's something we don't use, airplane mode. I use airplane mode when doing a Pomodoro session. Because what they've found, scientists have found, even the buzzing sensation in your pocket is enough for your brain to crave that distraction. Because we don't want to do something that's painful. That's why we procrastinate. So when I have my phone on airplane mode, I don't even get distracted because my willpower isn't tested. I just sit there oblivious to what's going on with my phone. And many times, as I was speaking to O, you'll see a message in the most irrelevant time. You could be in a meeting, you could be with someone. You see bad news, potentially bad news, and it ruins your whole day or your whole activity. So what you need to think of, whilst you've got your phone on airplane mode for 25 minutes, let's think extremes. Even if your childhood dog dies, right, which is traumatic, there's nothing you can do within those 25 minutes apart from mess up the piece of work you're doing. Now, I'm not saying, your work's more important than family. What I am saying is after the 25 minutes, check your phone. Okay, you've got a voicemail. Okay, your dog's died. Now stop what you're doing and continue. But what you need to understand is, realistically, there's nothing you can do within 25 minutes if someone was to call about your dog dying. Instead, finish the work, because if you saw that your dog died, it's going to ruin the work you're doing. And there's still nothing you can do. It's quite extreme, but what I want to kind of bring it back to is the idea of not being distracted and making it easier for yourself not to. Simply put your phone on airplane mode when you're using strict workflow or when you set your phone for 25 minutes, and you'll see that you're more productive. So the free tools that we use at StudyFast are Trello. All of these are free. Strict workflow and airplane mode on my phone. These three collectively make sure I get the urgent, important things done within 25 minutes, undistracted. That's the tools that we use at StudyFast. See you in the next episode.